Hey guys, Gaming Outfigured here. Welcome back to the Desert Island miniseries. In today's episode, we're going to time travel back to 1995. What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking Raspberry Drive-In by Barntown Brewery. It's a milkshake IPA.
Milkshakes, raspberries, drive-ins, oh my. You know the drill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss an upload. And sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and let's travel back to 1995.
Gaming off the grid, boom shakalaka!
All right, here we are. It is 1995. This has become my favorite series that we're doing on the channel.
Oh, it's so much fun, and it's kind of crazy because it's only like 1/3 about video games.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I get so jacked up when we film these because it's just kind of, we try keeping our picks from each other to a certain degree. Some of them we have to make sure we're not picking the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot of fun to travel down this rabbit hole and check out the stuff that was going on in these years that meant something to us and still means something to us to this day. This episode suggestion, 1995, was brought to us by Planetary Ashes, if memory serves me right.
Yes, it was. So thank you so much for suggesting this year. Let's just jump in. 1995. Let's try and think back. 1995 I was 1 year old.
O.J. Simpson was on trial?
O.J. Simpson was on trial. That was huge. I am going to lie and say I do remember it. But I was 1 year old, but that was huge. I know about it, and it was still, you know.
Yeah. Bill Clinton was around. He was our president. Like, love him or hate him, he was a risky boy. He liked him.
He was a funny boy, that's for sure. But we're not here to talk politics, we're here to talk entertainment.
Yes.
Let's jump into music, because the 90s, 95, MTV, grunge, it's just perfect.
Obviously, we have a video game channel, but I feel like music is what brought you and I together.
Oh, that's how we met.
And so it's still a thread that we're going to probably be friends forever because of fucking music, and that's awesome. So, favorite album from 1995. This is hard, man, because there were so many albums that I would say are absolutely perfect. I look at Ben's from Radiohead.
Well, that's a great album.
Perfect album. Actually, like two of the better albums I think ever made. Jagged Little Pill from Alanis Morissette.
Ooh, great.
Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness from the Smashing Pumpkins. But the one I'm going to go with, I think, is the best album from this band. And it's a sad, sad story because I feel like they were peaking at the end. And so much talent, but so much chaos. And it yielded the self-titled album from Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains fans call it Three-Legged Dog because there's a three-legged dog on the cover. I don't even know how to put into words how good this record is. It's a different album for the band, for sure. If you were a fan of the band from, Facelift into Dirt, so on and so forth, their EPs that were in there, Sap and whatever else they had another one, I think. This album, the craftsmanship of the song, the songs, the whole album, there's not a throwaway song on this album. The interesting part is Lane Staley was kind of removed from the writing process.
He only wrote, one song?
Head Creeps, I think, is the only one that's officially credited to him.
Weird.
Which is not uncommon. Jerry Cantrell was kind of the
songwriter.
Yeah, he was kind of the wheelhouse for that band. I think he was the glue that held everything together. Lane Staley, very troubled individual, but such
super
a
talented
gift, man. One of the best voices I've ever heard in my life. I think Lane Staley is one of the best rock singers who has ever lived. And this album, it's so weird because I love it so much, but it's also so sad to me when I listen to it because so much potential was there. But man, humans, sometimes they can't get out of their own way. We've got our own demons and things like that, but bless Lane Staley's heart. Best singer I've ever heard. I loved Alice in Chains then, and the same reason I love them now is they were that band that you couldn't really put into a hole, right? You couldn't say, oh, they're alt rock or they're grunge or metal. They were just a good rock band.
They were just doing...
Yeah, it didn't really matter. They were out of the Seattle area. But, growing up, I grew up in the block I grew up in, we were into a lot of punk rock and alt stuff because there was a lot of skaters in that. But I did really like metal. I've always liked guitar rock, and I felt like Alice in Chains was that middle ground between those people that liked Metallica and Megadeth versus the Nirvana and Bush kids. Man, there was Soundgarden and Alice in Chains in between there, man. And that could get those folks kind of okay with each other talking music, and it's a great record. I don't even know where to say. I mean, the song again, Head Creeps, Brush Away, Loose Ground, Grind, Let Me Sleep So My Teeth Won't Grind. I mean, just so many great songs in this record. Nothing Song, Frogs.
Nothing song is pretty.
Yeah, Nothing Song sticks to the mouth like peanut butter on the brain. That's such a
such a
good
lyric.
song. Frogs, I've always loved that song. Sludge Factory. Although
Sludge Factory is great.
I love that song, but I like the unplugged version more than the album version on this. But nonetheless, man, I can't say enough good things about this record. If you haven't dove in to Three-Legged Dog or the self-titled album from Alice in Chains, you're missing out. It's one of the best rock records ever released, and I think it's a little overshadowed by Dirt.
Yes.
Their other album that's fantastic, but this album, fucking epic.
It's a great album. That's a great pick. This is kind of tough for me, because there was a lot of great albums during this time, and a lot of great music that I listened to today. Frog Stomp, Silverchair,
I'm a huge Silverchair
That
fan, yeah.
album is so freaking good.
It is amazing.
One Hot Minute, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yep.
That's a great Red Hot Chili Peppers album.
I think that's the album Dave Navarro was in the band. I think John Frusciante had left,
nice.
and Jane's Addiction's guitarist Dave Navarro joined. I think that's the album that has My Friends on it, which I love that song. Yeah, it's a good one.
Dude, you know your music.
Yeah.
But my album from 1995 has to be the self-titled album from the Foo Fighters. I'm such a huge Foo Fighters fan, and not only that, I'm a huge Dave Grohl fan. And this album is just Dave Grohl. He did this entire album by himself.
It's a great story.
Which is insane thinking about it, because the songs are incredible. Dude, I have Foo Fighters tattooed on my neck. Like, they're a huge part of my life. Dave Grohl's a huge part of my life,
Yeah.
and I'm a bass player. Like, he's a drums and guitar,
Yeah,
That's not who I should look up to, but he's a badass.
He is.
He's so cool, and this album is so incredible. There's so many great songs. All Stick Around that's a great radio hit.
Yep.
Alone and Easy Target is one of my favorite tracks.
Kurt liked that song. That had potential to become a Nirvana song.
Did
I've
it
heard.
really?
Yeah. Kurt,
Wow.
Dave was really scared to show
him
to
stuff,
Kurt.
yeah.
Not out of Kurt being a dick or anything. I think Dave just looked up to him so much that he was kind of
Reserved.
He's got the lead singer thing under control. He's writing great songs. But I think that's the story goes. Like, Dave showed him that or whatever, and Kurt was
was it in the bathtub and he kissed him? Is that song?
I think that's it. And I think
yeah.
Kurt had asked him man, do you care if I maybe rework the lyrics? But I love the song. And Dave was like, oh my God, absolutely. And then obviously they never got to it, right? That would have been on the next Nirvana record.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah.
But that was one of the first Foo Fighters songs I fell in love with from this album.
Yep.
And then obviously Watershed, dude, that initial riff.
Is it
It's so freaking...
Stick it to the mailman!
It's such a good freaking album. And then, of course, you can't forget to mention For All the Cows.
Yeah.
That song just kind of makes me laugh because it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I've watched a lot of things about the Foo Fighters, and back when this album came out and they were touring, this is all that they had. They had just this album, and so they'd play For All the Cows, every night, and people were like,
Yeah.
do you have any more songs? It was crazy. But Dave did this entire album by himself. It's such a great album. I love it. I have it on vinyl. I think it's a perfect album. It's so good.
It's a great record, man. It's I love the production of it. It's kind of done in a lo-fi way.
Oh yeah,
if that makes sense.
it's kind of raw.
It's very raw. What's the is it
Exhausted, dude.
Is it I might have
That's the last track.
Is it I like the song that the train that I got onto up and left that town.
Oh, what song is that?
It up when it went down.
Oh, I don't know what the title of that track is.
To save that day. I don't know. But
great
nonetheless,
song.
I love that song. I love that record. I don't know if you feel this way. I think this is the best Foo Fighters album. In my head, it's not even close.
Wow.
It's not even close.
See,
I love this record. Now,
I love it too.
Full disclosure, this was at a time where I was really heavily into this type of stuff, and that there's no way the Foo Fighters would have ever recorded their lo-fi budget album.
No, they wouldn't.
But I love this, man. This felt like a disc that you'd get in a punk rock magazine. And
It was just freaking... Because he just went and did it.
Yeah.
It was just so cool. And the story behind... He didn't want to put his name on it, so he was like Foo Fighters,
Yep.
and now he regrets calling the band Foo Fighters. It's so cool.
And even more, this makes me love it even more, is some of the B-sides from this fucking album, dude. Winnebago.
Winnebago! Dude, that song is so good.
It's one of my favorite Foo Fighters songs, and it didn't even make the cut Dude, that pick is epic, and dude, it's 1A, 1B with Three-Legged Dog in this album.
Oh yes,
I mean they're perfect albums.
I need to put some more time into Three-Legged Dog because that's a great album, but I don't know it as well as I do know the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, we should probably move on though to movie because we could talk music.
Oh, we've been talking music.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to movies. There was actually a lot of great movies that came out in 1995. You got Seven, The Seven Deadly Sins. That movie's great. Toy Story, which was almost my pick.
I was surprised that it's not.
Because Toy Story is one of my favorite Pixar movies ever.
And it's fun because we only put the honorable mentions on here and we each like throw those up. So it's like, Toy Story wasn't his pick?
Yeah, it wasn't my pick.
So play nice.
Braveheart was on there. Apollo 13, Billy Madison, Pocahontas, Mortal Kombat.
Dude, I
What?
would probably Pocahontas.
It's an animation, dude. That's disgusting.
I shouldn't say that.
That's inappropriate. But
I can't claim that joke. A buddy of mine lofted that one up.
It's
funny.
It's a funny joke. Let's move on to our picks for movies from 1995. What movie would you take with you to Desert Island?
Dude, it's funny because it's not even close. Hands down, Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls.
Dude.
Hungry little fella. Oh man,
It's getting a little hot in these rhinos.
I say that all the time, believe it or not. I have a pretty professional job that I do full time, but I will drop the line, whoa, it gets a little hot in these rhinos from time to time, and nobody ever gets it. Dude, I'm like, whoa, tough crowd. I was obsessed with Jim Carrey back then. I still am to this day. I love this movie. There's a lot of people that say the first one is the better of the two. I love the first one, but something about When Nature Calls, holy goddamn. I just love that movie. I just love it. I can't get enough of it. There's so much stupid shit in this movie.
I am a huge fan of Pet Detective, and I tried watching. I've seen it a couple times, but it's just too much. Like they took Pet Detective and just did too much.
Dude.
Like it's just I watch it and it's funny, but it's like, dude, what?
There's certain things when he gets shot in the legs with those arrows, and he's like, ah. Oh! Oh! It's like, I don't know what it is about that movie. It hits my funny button every time. And it's one of those movies, a lot of the movies like I'm like this with, that I can just watch over and over and over and over again. They never get old to me. And man, the honorable mentions were great, but dude, When Nature Calls, man.
That is a great pick.
I love it.
All right, my pick from 1995 has to be Tommy Boy. Dude, this movie is so funny. The way David Spade and Chris Farley act in this movie is incredible because David Spade hates him. He hates him. Just everything, like the opening scene where he's running through the fence to kind of get, and then like they run through the bushes and then they put up a fence and he runs right into the fence. So funny. And then like when he meets David Spade, his luggage is in a trash bag and he says like Niner was one of the phone numbers he called. Like, it's just so funny. He spills M&Ms in the dashboard and it goes in. And he's like, oh, you're going to get chocolate. And he's like, don't worry, there's a thin candy shell. Like, it's so stupid.
I love when they get pulled over. They're so high. And they're like, they don't know why they got pulled over. They're like, we weren't speeding. It's because they were going so slow.
Dude, isn't that the same scene where they get pulled over and they're like, act like just follow my lead, and they're getting stung by bees.
Yeah.
And they start running out of the car. Oh, bees! And the cops are like, oh, I'm allergic to bees, so the cops leave. It's so funny. Dude, this movie is so freaking good. And it's kind of like a cool coming of age tale too, because Chris Farley, kind of becomes mature in this movie. Yeah. He's kind of just an idiot throughout it. But dude, it is so good. I love it. Every time it's on TV, I watch it. I've seen it a million times. It's such a great freaking
It's
film.
crazy from this era, Chris Farley, bless his heart, no longer with us. So there was so many folks that were just kind of shooting stars, if you will. I know that not all this happened in 95, but I just look back at this time frame in my life and, Chris Farley, he was here and then he wasn't. Lane Staley was here from Alice in Chains and then he wasn't. Kurt, he was here and then he wasn't. It was, there was everyone was kind of like walking that razor's edge, I feel like, but it made for really like good entertainment and yeah, it's just a weird time because a lot of these folks, they should still be with us. They really should. But they're not.
It's kind of sad.
It is kind of 95. Like when I look back at it, man,
it's kind of sad. It's kind of the turning point when
Yeah.
things started.
Yeah.
You know, hitting the fan.
Yeah.
But on a more positive note, let's talk about this beer. What do you think?
Okay, Barntown Brewing. So far, everything we've had from them is epic. We actually had this in the tap room.
We did.
So this is not our first rodeo, but I think this is a great beer. I think if anybody doesn't think they're an IPA fan, try an IPA like this.
A milkshake IPA.
This is almost like it's almost borderline a sour. Like I don't know if the camera's gonna pick this up, but you cannot see through this beer. It's very cloudy. It's a very opaque pink. Yeah.
It's so good. So it's brewed with raspberries, vanilla, milk sugar, and hops. And as an IPA fan, I don't really taste the hops, but
Pretty faint.
I'm not complaining. Barntown, I don't know what they do. I think it might be the milk sugar or the demon juice they're putting into it. Something they're doing something crazy to their beers where it's incredible. The raspberry taste is so good.
Yeah.
It just it feels so. It tastes so good, and raspberry drive-in makes me want to go to the freaking drive-in theater, which there's not many around anymore, but in 1995 there was.
Yeah. Can we go out on a limb yet and say, are you willing to, that Barntown Brewing is the best brewery in the state?
Oh, that's so hard because I love Toppling Goliath, Exile, Confluence, so many local breweries, but
I just am gonna say
based on
their hats in the ring.
Yeah, they're definitely out there because every beer I have is just like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're
really
in that
good.
like, what?
Yeah.
So good. So good.
It's a gaming channel.
Fatality.
We got to talk about our favorite video games from 1995.
Yes, we do. So 1995 was kind of a big year for games. You got Chrono Trigger, great game, Mortal Kombat 3, Rayman, Twisted Metal, which is we love that series.
Yep.
Comic Zone, great Genesis game that I've recently discovered. Love that game. But what is your pick for video game 1995?
It's not even close. It's weird though because it's not my favorite game in the series. But Donkey Kong Country 2. You get Dixie in this game. A lot of people think Donkey Kong Country 2 is the best in the series. It's a game that I try beating at least every year. I love this game. I wasn't so much a fan of Donkey Kong Country 3, but I was so happy with this sequel. I still do prefer the original Donkey Kong Country to this one. And I think it's more because of the music than it is the actual game. But the music in Donkey Kong Country 2.
Well, the music in the first one's amazing.
It's amazing in all three of the games, to be honest. But it's just you can't beat the music in that first game. You just can't. But Donkey Kong Country 2, hands down.
Oh, that's a great pick, which I've never played. I've dabbled in the first one because of you, but I haven't played the second one. My pick, this might be cheating, because I'm going to bring a whole freaking arcade cabinet with me. Is that allowed? It is allowed because I'm saying so. Time Crisis, the original arcade Lycan game. So freaking cool. It did get ported to the PlayStation 2 years later in 97 with the Gun Con. We love the Gun Con. It's so great. But the original arcade Time Crisis with the foot pedal, this game is so sweet. We've beaten it multiple times together at the arcade or barcade. Dude, this game is awesome.
It ain't no arcade if it ain't a barcade.
Yeah, there's got to be bars there. We were both huge fans of Lycan games. That's kind of how the channel started, was Lycan games. It wasn't Time Crisis, but I just love Lycan games in general, and this, I'm going to take the whole freaking arcade cabinet with me because it is a great game, and it's a great series. Time Crisis is awesome.
It is. That is an interesting pick because my brain was on the home console.
No.
But we never set the rule that you can pick an arcade cabinet.
And so
you've been reading the policy manual, dude.
Yeah, I've studied. We've been on the Desert Island for a while now. I've had time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Planetary Ashes, thanks so much for suggesting 1995. Such a fun look back on an amazing year. Man, this is still kind of that time frame where the internet wasn't dominating the world, right? And things just were very real back then. And I love everything we picked. Those two albums get me fired up.
Those two movies.
Yeah.
It's so good. I like how we both picked comedies, and I think that shows where we get our humor from.
Yeah, for sure.
Both idiots.
Yeah, for sure. I think of all these categories, if we had to say the two best things we picked, it's definitely that Foo Fighters record and Three-Legged.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if you had to like
Yeah.
rank order.
Well, yeah,
them,
we talked about that for
Yeah.
the most, and we
Yeah.
can still keep talking about
Yeah,
it. There's
absolutely.
so many. Yeah. I'll just stop it there.
We always appreciate you guys tuning in, subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for traveling back to 1995 with us. It was a great time. We'll see you next time, right here on Gaming Off the Grid.
This is gonna be a bitch to edit.
Friends on it, which I love that song. Yeah, it's a good one.
Dude, you know your music.
Yeah.
That's not on the whiteboard. Probably shouldn't do that.
No, that's fine. Can we go out on the limb here and say, are you willing to go as far as saying Barntown Brewery?
Arcade or barcade. Dude, this game is awesome.
It ain't no arcade if it ain't a barcade.
Yeah, there's gotta be bars there.
There does, dude. One or two of them at
Yeah, there's
least.
gotta be at least 1 or 2 bars that have beer. But dude, this game is
It's a good game, buddy.
it's so good. We're huge
Fart knockers.
we're huge yeah, that's gonna help me get on the train.
We're just both such huge fart knockers that we love this game.
Okay, you ready?
No. No, I'm not.